Thanks, Ceann Comhairle. This week's budget in the department, we sought to restore support to our clients after a lost decade of cuts, but as well to target resources that we have where we feel that they were best placed to help. So as well as the €5 increase across most weekly allowances, we have provided for an increase in payments for qualified children, an increase in the back-to-school clothing and footwear allowance, more generous income assistance for lone parents who are out working, an extension of the maintenance disregard for housing costs in the working family payment, an extra week's fuel allowance, an increase in the daily expense allowance, which was formerly known as the direct provision allowance, a restoration to 100% of the Christmas bonus, an increase in the national minimum wage, additional funding to secure our free travel and our free TV licence schemes. However, this budget is not only about incremental increases, and I would like to emphasise two specific innovations which reflect very strongly on our commitment to help working families, Ceann Comhairle. For all parents, I'm delighted to be able to announce the introduction of a new paid parental benefit scheme which will allow both parents access to paid parental leave within the first year of their child's life. Both parents will have access to 2 weeks each, non-transferable, of this benefit, which will be paid at the same rate as maternity benefit and paternity benefit, which will be €245 per week in the coming year. I'm working with my colleague David Stanton in the Department of Justice and Equality. We will introduce the scheme beginning of Q4 2019, and it is our intention to incrementally increase this scheme up to 7 weeks parental leave over the next number of years. We've also introduced a new scheme which is job seekers' benefit for the self-employed. In order to improve access to social welfare schemes for self-employed contributors, we had already extended treatment benefits and invalidity pensions in previous years. But as part of the budget this year, I've announced the extension of access to job seekers' benefit to the self-employed from 2019. This will provide a safety net not currently available to people who are enterprising enough to establish their own businesses and provide employment for themselves, but actually in an awful lot of cases for other people too. We know the backbone of industry in this country are family and small-run businesses, and we're here to support them. Looking ahead to next year, it's my intention to further increase the supports that we provide for children who are at risk at poverty and to their families. And that's why this year I provided funds to pilot a hot meals scheme for schools. As part of the initiative, hot dinners will be provided on a pilot basis to a number of DEIS schools, and I hope, if it's successful, and there's no reason in my mind that it shouldn't be, to be able to provide the funds next year to roll it out on a permanent basis. I've also provided funds, Ceann Comhairle, in this year's budget for an examination of the extra costs of living incurred by people who are living with a disability. And this is a complex area, but I've given a commitment, and nevertheless I am very keen to address the concerns raised by the people who live and those who represent the people with the reality of living with a disability. And we'll use the outcome of the study to inform potential measures to address the issues of costs over the coming budgets. Now that the core rates have been largely restored, I believe that it's time to fundamentally examine the way in which we approach the business of setting our headline welfare rates. And a number of other countries have shown us how, by instituting a process of benchmarking welfare rates, typically using a system whereby core rates are fixed each year by reference to market earnings and/or price levels. Some advocacy groups have called for a similar system in Ireland, and the government, in the roadmap for pension reform published earlier this year, has already committed to adopting this approach in respect of pensions, and we indicated that we would develop proposals to deliver on this commitment before the end of 2018. My personal view is that core approach could be extended to other welfare payments. I believe that this system, if it's implemented, will provide the context and framework for an informed, rational and evidence-based approach to setting welfare payments. Ceann Comhairle, in conclusion, this week's budget announcements, both on the increases and the new innovations, reflect this government's commitment to working with families and the most vulnerable in society, and we seek to strengthen the opportunity and create an environment for every citizen to be able to prosper.
Thank you, Minister.